Hello, it's Greg Discharge. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're watching this video content from. As always, we'd like to thank you for your continued support of Greg Discharge in social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy holidays and happy new year as we record this 2026. Just home from the hospital from surgery and quite a long hospital stay. We had looked on the internet about surgery in Japan and really found little to no content. This is not meant to replace medical advice or to be the gospel and the truth about what happens in every situation here in such surgeries. But we thought it was worth talking a little bit about in general terms because we're probably not the only one who will have to go down this path. So here goes. Yeah, I had full hip replacement surgery on my right side at the end of 2025 in a local hospital, a very nice hospital, fortunate to go in there. So last year in July, I go to the local clinic and they take x-rays and they say, I don't know, it looks like maybe you should go to the bigger hospital. And I get a certificate and I go to the next week, I go to the big hospital in the area and the doctor looks at the x-rays and he goes, maybe you should have surgery. I'm like, okay. It's not a huge surprise that I would need hip replacement surgery. It had been getting worse over the years, and a doctor, the same doctor I went to in the local clinic, told me like 7 years ago, probably need surgery at some point. But now I'm on the schedule, and I'm scheduled for the end of December, and I have to go through the hoops because there's a medical expense cap here, so nobody goes bankrupt like in other countries like America, right? If you don't know. And so I have to start filling out the paperwork to that, and that's a process of going to the town hall and the hospital back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to get declarations of disability, to get declaration that you need the surgery, and that they authorize the expenditure discount. You can do that after the surgery, but then you pay the money and get it back later. And there's more of a discount apparently if you did that in advance, but that takes months. Like I got the paperwork about 1 week before the surgery in December, and I started applying in early July last year. So you're not just walking into the hospital, and it's a busy hospital, so the surgery schedule is full. So the earliest I could get in, even when I went to the doctor July 8th, was the end of this year. So I waited around, and there's pre-checks that you have to go in for like CT scans and x-rays and consultations. And they do a blood donation in the hospital that I went to yourself. So I had to go 2 different times about a month before surgery for that. It's pretty harmless. And then you had to go in for like a full health check, as you might expect, and blood draws. All of this is before the surgery, but I'm not working. The job had stopped, so I have time to do it, which is good. But if you have a job and you need to do that, you're going to take time off work to do that. There's no way around it because it's like they don't do much of anything on the weekends. So I wait and I wait and I wait, and I get cleared for surgery. They test for like MRSA, which is like a disease you can get in the hospital, coronavirus test before surgery, blood pressure, any kind of thing that you might have. And they tell you like a list of things to bring. Here you got to bring like utensils and cups, and it's crazy, like towels and clothing and big stuff for your parents. So all of that they give you paperwork and it's explained. Not in as much detail as you might expect. But then the day before the surgery, I go in and I check in. My lovely wife drops me off and she's like, "Good luck." And they hook me up they run again basic health checks. I got another X-ray, blood draw, and an IV. And I spent the day kind of relaxing, had some dinner. And the next day, my surgery's not in the morning, it's in the afternoon. So I didn't have breakfast. I'm not allowed to eat and not allowed to drink. I could eat until like 9 the night before, and like 9 the next morning I could drink, I think, water. But of course, no breakfast, no lunch, so I'm pretty hungry. They said, Craig, that's my name, right? Can you ready to come to surgery? And I walked to the surgery room through an elevator area, and there's all these people, and they're like, check your name. They're always like, check your name, and I give my name. Everything's check your name, check your name. This is your IV bag. This is your lunch. You know, so you get in your birthday. And they're like, are you ready? Yeah. And they're like, hop up on the table. I change my clothes. I come in like this kind of clothes, and I change into the hospital gown and some of my pants. And they're like, are you ready? And so yeah. They're like, I'm gonna put this mask over your face, and I'm like, okay. And they're like, are you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm done. Next thing I know, somebody's in my face going, hey, wake up, wake up, wake up, get up, get up. Are you okay? Like it was instantaneous. So I don't really feel any pain. And I've got the, I noticed I got some like balloon kind of socks, like pressure socks that put air and take air out, keeping the blood flow going. And I'm wheeled to a room. I got lucky a little bit to a private room for a couple days. They had the space. It's the end of the year, I guess. And I'm alone. So I'm able to kind of recover. I don't, the nurses are, they check a lot, blood pressure and blood draws and they monitoring my condition. And I'm doing okay. They're like, are you okay? Do you feel any pain? Do you coughing? Do you feel tingling? You get that question like every day. I'm like, no, no, I'm okay. And then like, um, doctor's like, "He was okay." I'm like, "You're doing all right?" Yeah. Still not really up and around. And I get wheeled into like the that room is money. Like let's say like I don't know, like 13,000 yen a day, which is I don't know, like $90 US a day. That's a lot. So the private, semi-private room, four people were in my room. It's like a little cubicle. There's a little curtain. It's not anything amazing, but I was just recuperating anyway, right? There's a little TV, which is a pay card. Which I bought, and they got Wi-Fi. You can't. I couldn't bring any electronics, so I'm hanging in there, and they're still checking me, and things. But there's like three other people, and man, they're in sad shape, and they're coughing and snoring. It was a long couple days. The pain got worse like 2 days in. Painkillers here are not what you might expect in the Western sense. They did give me extra if I needed it, but I still felt I was in a significant amount of pain and inability to sleep for those middle couple days. This is like day, let's say like day three. It hurt a lot. Day three, I'm like, I wanted to die. And so, not pleasant. But the next day, physical therapist comes in, he's stretching me, bending, and do you feel anything? I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I feel okay. But then the holidays are coming. They had said maybe you'll get out kind of early. I'm like, oh, so I'm thinking I'm going to be out by the end of the year. And they're like, no, I think you're going to stay. So I stayed all the way through the holidays with the skeleton crew and no real doctors around to check. So what I thought was going to be like 6, 7 days in the hospital turned into like 20. So be careful, I guess, when you schedule that stuff around national holidays and that, especially the end of the year. The food was pretty good. Limited, I think they had like 15 to 1600 calories a day. Really good. I don't want to do specific. I'm not supposed to talk a lot about that. Staff was very good in that hospital. They helped me a lot. Doctors, it was all in Japanese. So, and again, I had to Google Translate for a lot of the documents and things. They'd come in and ask to like sign off on like research, and it's a teaching hospital, so they do you care? They have to ask you, do you care if I don't care who watches me and that. So that's a little different maybe. And about like 5 days in, I'm still kind of hanging out. I'm feeling better. Got a little boring, but I read a lot of books. They had like a book thing you can download. I use like Project Gutenberg. So I read a lot of books. I listened to a lot of music. I watched some TV. That was like one kind of American movie channel. I watched Shawshank Redemption, Cool World, and other things like that. So there was stuff to do. But mostly it was just like waiting on breakfast, lunch, and dinner, hospital checks. Usually lights on where it's like 6 a.m. The internet started then. Lights out were like 9 o'clock and internet was off at midnight. Um, it was free, so that was cool. But by the 2 week mark, they took off the incision area, checked it, no staples. Anything, it was all internal and it glued. So I had no trouble there, luckily. I didn't wasn't really in a lot of pain, and my physical therapy every couple days is going okay, and I'm able to shower by myself at this point, bending no trouble. Every situation's different. Some people have a lot of trouble with that. There are people in there that clearly couldn't get around much, and other people like me who may be up and around. But I'm like 20, 25 years younger than most of them. So again, but I've seen younger people on the internet, even in America, who had a lot of trouble. And other posterior through the butt where they still cut muscles is still common here, I read. So that's a possibility for somebody here, I guess. In my case, what they call MIS, minimally invasive surgery, through the side, spread the muscles and in and out. and recovery time is a little more painful early, soreness in the thigh, but after the 6 month is a wash with the other. It's not a new kind of procedure, um, but it's one that's become more common here. And the computers do a lot of that work now, showing where to cut and into the muscle and avoid big trauma to the thing. The nerve in the front does hurt, still kind of hurts, even like 3 weeks later. Uh, but I felt okay. And doctors came back after the new year and they're like, "Hey, you'd probably like to go home." I'm like, "Yeah, I'd kind of like to go home." I got picked up a little. The rooms are hot. Huh. Um, and they do check, like, I had a fever a couple days. They're very quick to check on like PCR tests for like corona and that, which I didn't have, which would have set me back. I did set somebody back in the hospital, but they isolate when that happens. So tend to get a little dry. Um, you bring your own water and tea, so I drank a lot of that. I didn't have any coffee or sweets, really. My perfect wife, luckily, snuck me in some cookies at the end. I was a little sick of eating that. It's a pretty healthy diet, so if you're big on hamburgers and pizza, that's not what happens. I ate a lot of fish. I lost like 9 pounds, which is like, I don't know, 3.5 kilograms or something, um, which was good and bad. I went in a little chubby, figuring I would lose weight, and I walked every day in the hospital. I mean, you're kind of left to your own devices after a while, unless you have something go wrong. Um, Not quite as quick as like a lot of the American hospitals, where some of my pals who run, by chance, one of my friends is like head of the department orthopedic in her hospital in Tennessee. And they get you up and around and out like day or day out, day or two later. 20 days, man. So you're not probably getting right out. Part of it, like, when you hit a certain cap in the money wise, it's no more expensive for the patient than it is for but they're still collecting the hospital money. I don't want to say it's a scam, but it doesn't really, you're not paying anymore, so you're no hurry. Price wise, it wasn't expensive. There's again the high medical expense discount. Not that it's not even a foreigner thing. Anybody who's registered for the Japanese healthcare system can get it. There's also another local discount, and I had also had a little policy for like long-term disability and hospitalization I've had for years since I got married, just in case something like this happened. So I'll get money back from that. So in the end, it won't cost me any money probably. That's not maybe not true in every case. Um, but I did pay out of pocket today a few, like, I don't know, 600 or 700, 60,000, 7,000 yen. But I'll get most of that back to that other program. But again, that may be different for other people in different areas and municipalities. This area tends to be pretty good for such things. And I get a little more discount because I went to a hospital in my area that I live, which may or may not be true for you. So, but you can, I guess the big takeaways here as I close this out, not to go too long about this, I don't want to go too specific, but expect to wait a long time to get into the hospital. Expect a lot of checks. Expect to stay longer than you might in other countries for that surgery. Expect the care to be really good. Expect it to be all in Japanese, probably. Um, Expect it to hurt after a couple days, for sure. Not gonna lie there. I'm pretty high threshold for pain, but that hurt, not gonna lie. Expect the food to be really healthy in Japanese, low calorie, but don't expect a lot of food, for sure. Expect to be well taken care of, for sure. The credit to all the staff who did a great job. Doctor down to the food. I talked to a lot of them. They joked and they were all happy. Of course, they're interested in, as the first American there to do it, so they're interested in the foreign. They're all impressed with the Japanese and that, and it was really good to my credit. Um, but expect them to be a little more cautious about letting you do things and ability to like make sure that you can go home and do your thing. I could have extended my stay in another rehabilitation facility, which would have been more paperwork, and I can just rehab at home. I don't have a lot going on, but a lot of people here are older, so I saw a lot of people come in who are older and they have older spouses and family, like sick people taking care of sick people. So the system is very aware of that, I think. Expected again a lot of paperwork that you probably don't understand. Google Translate, the camera, it's really good translations. when I didn't know something. And generally, you have to say yes because otherwise they're not going to do anything for you. Like, do you care? Yes or no? No. Okay. I mean, if you don't answer their way, they're not going to do it, right? So you're kind of stuck, kind of saying yes. So it's not as hard as you think. Um, but yeah, a positive experience. The hospital is first rate. Their thing is like orthopedics. Um, my doctor's well. The doctor is a younger doctor that I had, but the head of the department is well known in Japan and in the area for being an excellent doctor. He took time every day to talk to me that he was there and make sure I'm okay. Um, he was like, "You're doing all right, and be careful. Rehabilitation, do your best." They check things and check things and check things. So mistakes just really, I don't know how I would ever make a mistake of anything happening. They check food down to the food, right? Um, it can be a little lonely because the visiting hours are like 15 minutes a day. If you don't have a lot to do or don't have a lot of family, you are going to kind of be alone, which is just kind of how it goes here. Even not even for this particular surgery, just the hospital rule, especially post coronavirus and stuff. They're a little more aware of that, but it also cuts down on the chance of getting some disease or bacteria, things that set you back in that. So I'm happy about that. But yeah, I had seen no content about orthopedics and long-term surgery. I've seen some general what happens when you go to the hospital in Japan, but if you do what they say and follow instructions, even as a foreigner, you should have no trouble. Again, every situation is different. The hospital is a little bit bigger, and I'm going to have a little bit more experience in Japan. And I knew what was going. I had researched a lot in English about what was going to happen in such a surgery if something went wrong, and I had people who could translate for me at home, and I had Google Translate on my phone at the ready, and they have their phones and things too. And a couple of people tr were interested in English, so if I needed bathroom or something like that, I could have done it. But yeah, I want to say again, like again, I know I didn't go into a lot of specifics because I signed things that I wouldn't. I'm not going to tell you like hospital name and doctors and that, but my experience is getting a full hip replacement in Japan, high technology, high service, high quality doctors, uh, reasonably low cost. If you do all the paperwork and do all that takes some doing, that would be difficult alone if you didn't have the Japanese. But a really positive experience. I did pay. I know there's been thing like where the foreigners don't pay and running out. I paid. My perfect wife went down to the first floor and paid at the kiosk and came back up and showed the receipt. They checked my room and made sure I have everything. I got up. I went to McDonald's, and then on the way home, there's an earthquake. And my car was kind of shaking, and I was like, "What the?" And we thought it was the wind. There's like a level 3 earthquake here, a pretty big one in Tottori, Shimane Prefecture, a little far away, but still fell here, so that's pretty major. Had a couple of aftershocks to it here. But I went and got some McDonald's, came home. I will convalesce and have some therapy next week, and some checkups at the 3 month mark, and I think 6 month mark, and that will be that. I probably off topic need the other side done, so I'll get how the to go right back to the same hospital, go over everything again, and get the left side done, and I'll be good to go. I hope the left side is actually worse than the right side was. So there's something to look forward to. Hopefully not next December. I'd rather not spend another New Year's in the hospital. But that's a general overview. At least now there's some content about that. But Japanese hip replacement, total hip replacement in Japan. Um, I can say a positive experience. So again, every situation is different. People may say, well, my experience was different or a terrible experience. But in my case, I felt well taken care of. I thought the process was smooth, and I'm fortunate to come out on the good side of all that. But it was a long 20 days, not gonna lie. Happy to be home with those who care about me for sure. That's it, and have a great day.